Hey, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up? Gracious good morning to you good people. It's your girl KB. You know what I do and you know why I do it. It is Wednesday. It's hump day. And guess what? I haven't quit this week yet. You know, it's a running joke in my office that I quit at least once a week. It's my way of just staying grounded and acknowledging that my job is stressful. You know, there's a lot of vicarious trauma that comes with the job that I do. And, you know, I lighten the load by cracking jokes. Now, I know there's a time for seriousness and there's a time for joking. And I try to find a healthy balance, but for the most part, I have to say, I'm a nutty buddy and I'm sarcastic as hell. Especially when somebody says something that insults my intelligence, you know, it makes no kind of sense whatsoever. You can't even get a clear linear thought from. But that's my way, like I said, of coping. Let me timestamp what I'm getting ready to say, because I know there are going to be a bunch of folks in the comments, and I'm here for it. It is Wednesday, it's June 10th, and it's 3:11 in the a.m. I'm just going to dive right into it because there's no polite segue into this story. Recently, in South Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina, and when I say recently, it was in May, the end of May, a store owner actually, this wasn't recently. It was in 2023, but it just came to light because of the trial. Okay, so the incident happened in 2023. The trial was recently. Store owner Chikai Chow shot a 14-year-old black boy in the back because he thought he stole 4 bottles of water. He shot and killed him. The story goes, they had an argument in the store. The boy left and started to run. Mr. Chow and his son chased the boy. Mr. Chow shot him in the back as he ran. Now, here's the kicker for me in this story. They say a gun was later found near the teen's body. Now, just the way that's reported. Now, me having 2 gray cells that still have synapses and that are still speaking to one another. If he had a gun, I'm not saying he didn't, but I'm saying if he had a gun, most youngsters these days tend to think that they're John Wayne, you know, or it's a scene from The Harder They Fall. There would have been some gunplay. Why do you run if you have a gun? I'm just saying, maybe we need to think about that a little bit more. If it's your neighborhood, of course you're going to know where to hide and set up. But that verdict reminded a bunch of people of the story of a LA riot where a Korean gentleman shot a young girl. A Korean lady shot a young girl in the back because she thought she stole a bottle of juice. She shot her in the back of the head. And a riot ensued where a lot of Korean stores were destroyed. Same thing. Now, when they retrieved Latasha Harling's body, she had the money in her hand. Folks need to understand, nothing has been stolen until a person exits the store. Now, the young boy was suspected of stealing 4 bottles of water. Did he stop at the counter? None of that's mentioned here in the reporting. So if he stopped at the counter, was there an exchange? Did he have 4 bottles of water? You found a gun. Did he have 4 bottles of water with him? Now, if you're running and you suspect the police have been called on you, and people are chasing you, you don't want to be found with a gun if the police are the ones chasing you. So if he had a gun, why didn't he stash it? If he had 4 bottles of water, why weren't they mentioned? I don't understand, when people want to mention ghetto, hood, whatever, adjective they want to hurl, one of the first things that they mention is black on black crime to define their isms. And that reinforces the mindset that made these deaths possible. The other thing to look at is, where does this racism come in and how is it introduced to the Asian community at large? We're not asking those questions because we know. And unfortunately, it's the American way. Democracy is built on capitalism. It's linked to capitalism. Capitalism is linked to racism. And we need to acknowledge the systemic ills in order to effectively address the reparations. my first posting was about, I want to say, a tainted trial. I would say alleged tainted trial. And I'm still trying to figure out if folks knew one another. And if they did, some evidence should have been discussed and people should have been recused. And now I'm talking about this. And pretty much the majority of my conversation leads me to one big question. What's a black or a brown life worth? Because now everybody's running to white proximity and trying to bask in the privilege.